Good pattern lovers? It's Tora here. Welcome to another exciting video. On today's episode, we're going to be learning how to design this plain blazer jacket with beads, pearls, and other embellishments. We're also going to be learning how to bead with our nylon thread and all of that. Now, before we start, please make sure to like the video, share, drop a comment. If there's anything you're not quite clear on while this video is being made, please drop that in the comment section and I'll be happy to answer all your questions and also like your comments. And do not forget to also subscribe. Now, to get started on this project, the first thing we're going to be doing is to mark out all our necessary measurements we need in creating this beautiful piece. The first thing we're going to be doing is to mark out the point at which I want the big pearls I added to the shoulder pad. I'm going to be marking out the point at which I want those big beads to be on, and that is what you see me doing here. So after marking that out, I'm also going ahead to measure the points which I want the beads and the pearls to stop in, because I am not covering the whole blazer jacket, the whole front piece of the blazer jacket with beads. I just want it to stop at a particular point. So you have to do well to mark out your design, any pattern you want to create on your jacket or any dress you want to design. Do well to mark that out. This is just me being extra with my curve ruler. You do not necessarily need all of that, but then I just wanted to get a particular shape right here. So I'm just creating like the lines and making sure that both sides are equal and matching, so that one side is not bigger than the other side. To get started, I'll be making use of this my nylon thread, or some people call it beading thread. You could pause the video to get the name right. I wrote it down in the part that just passed. So I've gone ahead to thread that on my needle. You could make use of a beading needle or a normal needle. Now the beading needle, I didn't make use of that because it's just too tiny. If you've actually seen a beading needle, you know what I'm talking about. So I went ahead to use my normal beading sewing needle, hand sewing needle, and then you see me just tying that up in a knot. And I've gone ahead to put my first bead, and I've just marked that out already, following the measurements I've already marked out. Just use a pencil or a sewing chalk or something you know that would not be hard to clean up by the time you wash the jacket, because you do not want to be carrying marked jackets all around the place and people be like, why did they mark your jacket like this? So just get something that you know would be very, very easy to clean up when you wash the jacket off. So I'm just going in with normal hemming stitch, normal sewing stitch, running stitch, and sorry about that, normal running stitch actually. And I'm just beading that the normal beading way. If you guys want me to create a very special tutorial, a detailed tutorial on how to bead, you could drop that in the comment section and I'll be happy to do that. We could just practice a little bit of different beading patterns, different beading designs, and I'll be excited to actually do that, because beading is another fun craft on its own. It's me putting all my beads, my pearls, whichever you want to call it, putting them in place, and you can see that the marking out of the point at which I want the beads to be actually helped, because I don't have to keep on measuring and checking if the spaces are equal. So always try to mark out your designs before you start. Then I've gone ahead to cut that, and just for an extra hold, I'm going to be tying that down just for an extra hold 3 times. I think that was 4 times I did there. If you're not sure of your stitches, you could tie it as many times as you want. And because if you've worked with this nylon thread / beading thread, you would know that it can be very slippery and it can do whatever it wants. So I'm just going in with my UHU gum to just under the beads, to just give it an extra hold. If you know the UHU gum very well, when it dries off, it doesn't leave like a whitish cast. it's just like usually very transparent. So that's why I love working with the UHU gum. So I've done that and then let that dry off. So that's like an extra hold. So even if my thread ends up ripping at some point or later on, I know that my gum is still there to hold my beads in place, my pearls in place. So I'm just same thing on the second shoulder, and yeah, enjoy. You can see how easy it is, like how when you mark out the pattern, when you mark out your points for beading, you can see how easy it makes your work. It makes your work actually 10 times easier because you don't have to keep on picking up your tape, trying to measure and all of that. So yeah, always make sure you mark out the points and the design, the pattern with which you want to bead on. And that's me just trying to um tie that again, give it an extra hold, because the nylon thread slash beading thread is actually very slippery. So I'm going in with my UHU gum again. Some people actually call it uhu gum, but then it's UHU gum. If you also have this E7000, E8000 gum, you could go ahead and use that also. Just anything that you know would not color stain on your dress by the time it dries off. The next thing I'll be doing is to use my cuff chain. I'll be using my cuff chain to make the drapey chain thing I did when in the beginning of the video. If you go back, you'll see the drapey thing I did with the cuff chain. Cuff chain is actually spelled CUFF and then chain, CHAIN. I'll be writing that down towards the end of the video just for clarity, or I'll be putting it in my description so that we could be clear on that. So I'm still going using my UHU gum to do this also, and me that extra hold I always want. And when it dries off again, it doesn't leave any stain or any colored stay cast on it when it's dry. So I've gone ahead to I've cut my cuff chain into the sizes I want. So all I'm doing is applying my UHU gum on each end of my cuff chain, and then I am just placing that on beside the beads I have already sewn in. I'm just placing that beside the beads I have already sewn in. You can see it, and then I just press it down and let it dry. And when it dries, you guys, nothing can actually take this thing off. The UHU gum is actually that good. So just placing that, and then I'm taking the last one now, the last piece. You can see me right there. I didn't actually know that my camera didn't catch where I was placing it, so it's just a little piece of it that is showing. But then just place it behind the cuff chain, like at the back of it, and then you just place it beside the bead. You could just go be creative with your design, do whatever you want. You could pass it from one end of the shoulder to the other end of the shoulder, so it passes through the chest line, and just do whatever you want. I'll be glad to get your feedback on the creative designs you were able to create. So yeah, that's me just placing the last piece, and you can see it's already giving the drapey look, and this is already looking so pretty. We haven't even started the main work, you guys, and it's already giving this beautiful look. Look at how pretty this is already looking. So we're just going to do the same thing on the other shoulder. I've already also gone ahead to cut the different sizes I need, which is the same thing as the one on the shoulder that I've already done, because it has to be equal. One side can be, the drape on one side can be longer than the drape on the other side. So you have to make sure that it is equal, the curve chains are equal, but the one for the first layer is equal, the one for the second layer is equal, and the one for the third layer is equal, so that your work looks very, very nice and doesn't look improper, because one side is draping longer than the other side. So you have to take all this into consideration. So basically that is just what I am still doing, and just placing that and pressing it down to make sure that the gum has a firm hold on the fabric. Next thing we'll be doing now is to be placing our pearls and our beads on the remaining part of our blazer jacket that we have already marked out, the design we've marked out. I'm supposed to be using my nylon thread slash beading thread, but I don't think I want to go through that process right now, so I just went ahead to use a light blue thread, and I just put that on my normal needle, something I know that would not show on my jacket, so people will say it and be like it's not a neat work. So because you want a neat finishing, so if you're not going to be using transparent thread, that is nylon thread, make sure you use a thread that is matching to the dress you are working on, so that your work doesn't look shabby. Yeah, so I have just gone ahead to thread my needle with a light blue thread, and I have done my first beading. I have put in my first bead, and I'm just trying to lock that in so that it has a firm grip. And then you see me trying to put the second one, because I want this, because this is a scattered work, there is no particular pattern which I'm following to bead the bead. Aside from the first pattern that I drew, the shape I want it to take, the beadwork itself is just going to be scattered. I'm just dropping it on any part of the pattern I have already drawn out. So there I'm just leaving space and just putting it on any spot I pick up. So you could just watch that and see how I do that. And when doing this, you guys, make sure you do not drag the thread too much, because you do not want your blazer jacket to be all scrunched up, or you do not want the dress you're working on to be all scrunched up. If you notice, if you watch it very well, you see I'm trying to like just release the dress after I drag it to have a firm grip. I just try to release it, stretch it out, so that the blazer jacket doesn't get all scrunched up. You see what that is doing? I just use my hand and I just use it to stretch the jacket back out, so that I don't get that scrunchy look. So make sure that the grip of the thread is not too much on your dress, on whatever fabric you're working on. That is if you're doing this scanty work that I. So if you have any question, if you have anything, any suggestion you want to give, please drop that in the comment section, and I'll be happy to answer all your questions. You guys do not forget to like this video, share, and also subscribe to the channel, because we have loads and loads of fun and creative patterns and designs that's going to be coming up next on this channel. So I'm just rounding up with this side and just still stretching it out and putting in more beads on the fabric. So I've decided to stop this one here, and I've cut the thread, and I'm just going in with extra ties, extra knot to give it a firm grip. Don't forget, do not drag it too much so that it doesn't scrunch up your dress or whatever fabric you're working on. And I'm still going in with the UHU gum to give it that extra grip, like I mentioned in the first part of this video when I was adding that to the beads on the shoulder part. So I'm just going in with my UHU gum. You could actually leave it if you trust your stitches, if you trust the thread so much, you could actually just leave it that way. Using the gum to give it the extra grip is not compulsory. It's just my thing that I think would be good, just to avoid, okay, in case there's a loose stitch or anything. But I made sure that my stitches are firm enough. And do not add too much of the gum because you do not want it dripping out on the part of the dress that doesn't have a bead on it, and then giving it that, you know, that gummy look. So just apply very little because the UHU gum actually works so well. As tiny as a drop of it would actually give that firm grip. So in this part I'm adding my crystal beads. I'll be showing that in the other part of this video. In the next part of this video, I'll be showing that to the camera. They're just crystal beads. The hole in between them is actually very tiny, and the needle I'm working with would not be able to pass through it. So I just decided to use my UHU gum to work on it. Now you guys, in this second part, I actually found out that my pearl machine, I can actually work with these pearls that have holes, because normally this pearl machine doesn't work except if you're working with a pearl that doesn't have holes, like beads, pearls that doesn't have holes. Normally pearls that don't beads that don't have holes are called pearls actually. So I just decided to try it out and it worked, you guys. Yeah, I decided to try it out and it worked, because if you use a bead on this pearl machine it will just break it. But I guess because this one is a bigger size, so it doesn't like, it's able to, the thickness is able to like carry the whole work that the pearl machine does. So yeah, I said okay, rather than sewing, because the pearl machine actually gives a neater work, it actually brings out a neater job than sewing, and you don't have to worry about scrunching up your fabric. So I decided to just use this pearl machine for the second part and then just beat that up. So you could just watch how that went. You guys, I can't even lie, this pearl machine made my work so much easier. I didn't have to worry about scrunching up the fabric, trying to put the thread, trying to make tight notches. All I had to do was just put in my bead and then just press that down. If you have any questions about this pearl machine, you can ask me in the comment section and I'll be happy to answer all your questions. So I'm just trying to add up one more bead on this extra, on this other side, one more extra bead I found on this other side, so that it's equal number of beads on each side. You can see how pretty that is already looking. So yeah, I'm just adding that up. The pearl machine actually comes with different nozzles. They're called nozzles. So I want to add my smaller pearls now, and I'm just changing the nozzle. You could see me screwing it up. That's the good thing about this pearl machine. You could work with different sizes of pearls. So when you're fixing this, make sure that the pearl you're working with enters inside the nozzle. Don't use the one that you have to struggle to put the pearl inside. It's not going to work. It's going to either break the pearl or fault your machine. So make sure that the pearl is able to enter inside the nozzle perfectly well and sits pretty inside the nozzle. So I've just gone ahead to screw that back up in, and I am going to start working with my smaller pearls. So you could, I'm just trying to fill up the little remaining spaces on this other side so that they do not look, one side doesn't look scanty and the other side is looking filled up. So yeah, that is what I'm just trying to do. The next thing I'll be adding is my crystal beads. As you can see, I told you guys I was going to show it in the camera, and I'm going to be using my UHU gum because I do not want to sew anything anymore. So that's how beautiful the crystal beads look. They're so shiny and they make the fabric actually pop. They come in different colors. Just ask your the retail store where you get your stuff from for crystal beads. So I'm going to be using the UHU gum to just attach these on this side, on each side of the fabric. So I'm just putting little drops. As you can see, you can't even see it from the video. I'm just adding little drops and I'm just placing the crystal beads on the gum that I have placed previously. UHU gum works so well, but a lot of people say that it works well when it is dried, and I actually agree with that. So when you apply your UHU gum, you want to allow it to sit for a little bit, a very little bit, because once it dries off, you can't actually work with it anymore. So you have to let it dry for just a little bit, and then you place whatever thing you want to hold down on it. If you want to gum your fabric, two fabrics together, whatever it is, you could just do that. So that's why you see me trying to put it already on the fabric before I then place my crystal beads on it. So you can see how well the UHU gum is actually holding on to these crystal beads like glue. Is actually glue. So I always vouch for the UHU gum because it gives me what I want. So that is basically all I had to do to create this masterpiece on this blazer jacket, you guys. I just made use of the big beads, pearls, the cuff chain, the transparent thread slash beading thread, and also the UHU gum. So guys, make sure you are creative with yours. Do something, do a different pattern, just go crazy with the design. Use different colors of beads, pearls, crystal beads, whatever it is you want to use. You could actually just be creative with the design, and you could drop your questions still in the comment section. And if you want to just show me your designs, you could actually drop that in the comment section also, and I would be happy to drop my WhatsApp number to get your designs. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited that we're able to do this together. I hope you understood every single thing. This is the beautiful piece we were able to create in just how many minutes. Please make sure to like this video, share, and also drop a comment. Do not forget to also subscribe to the channel. It's still right here once again. See you guys in another video. Bye.